So I just woke up and you can see the effects of their radiation on me. So this isn't about just being sensitive to radiation. It's about people continuing to expose me to radiation. And so I covered my head and my parts of my face with my arms and my hands. And that's before I showed you this hand wouldn't this hand was swollen and this finger wouldn't move over. I'm able now to move this finger normally, but you can see that there's still swelling. So anything this technology is exposed to, you see how there's that lump on my hand? I don't know, I'm holding the cell phone obviously. So right here, look at that. So anything this technology is exposed to causes this swelling. So I couldn't do this before. And I showed you my finger was bent. So before, when it was my head, like especially the top of my head, it was hard to see because it's my head. But when it's my face and my hands, you can see it. It's easy to see. You see that? And I'm going to switch. You see that right there? You see that? I just woke up and you can see it. When it's your head, it's hard to see. But when it's your hand, it's so easy. So you can see there's swelling, especially these two fingers and the bottom here. You see that? Now let me show you on this hand compared to that. So I don't have that lump right here. And on the side, it's not as bad. And I can obviously do this even without, without really trying. It's easy. So on this hand, let me do it with all the fingers. You see, this one is always a little off, but it's so much better. I showed you in a previous video when it was together, I couldn't move this finger over, and you can see it right there. So it's so much easier to see on the hand, but I guess the face is also easier. You see that? So hopefully what will happen, you notice my voice is better too. So hopefully what will happen is I keep doing this with my arms and I'll finally reduce the exposure. So I'm contacting law enforcement, letting them know I'm still being exposed to this radiation. They said it's because they wanted me to be able to hear. That's wrong. That's wrong. I mean, I don't understand. We're talking about just life. It's wrong to do it. So then they say, well, we want you to be able to see things. That's another crime. I mean, how many times do I have to put myself in a video? I have over 1,000 videos saying I'm a human being. Look, oh, that's another part I wanted to show you with how swollen. They say when you pinch your skin, it takes time to snap back when it's swollen. But I like the fingernail test. You see that? Where your fingernail, it's indented. That's how swollen I am. You see that? My fingernail stays in. That's part of why I used to have lines on my face, because I would put something to keep them from attacking my jaw. I told you guys in a previous video, they would make my jaw move because it was supposed to be I was supposed to think I'm speaking when I know I'm not speaking. But that's how sick these people are. You see the fingernail? I'm going to see if I can get a better shot. Well, that wouldn't have been a good shot, but that shows you how swollen I am. And I'm going to do the same thing to this hand. Look at that. This mark is the mark I just made. I'm using my other fingernail to show you guys how swollen. That's how swollen I am. That any little thing I press against, I'll do it with this. You see that? That's my fingernail. That's how swollen I am. So I have a group of psychotic people, criminals, who think I have some special psychic ability, and this is how they're using, that's the excuse they're using. Well, they use the excuse that I was horrible. Everyone hates me. They said I don't have a group of people. They said a coalition, meaning a gang. So since I'm not a gang member, I should be tortured until I become a gang member. They say, oh, here's my eyes running. That's the other thing that happens. After you wake up, the fluid drains. So it doesn't only drain here, it drains from your eyes. So when you see me crying, when I say crying, I'm not actually crying, but you see my eyes running. That's this. So it's because I'm not a gang member. So I was supposed to join their gang and I didn't. I'm 49. What kind of gang? So they said I was supposed to then reconnect with people from the past who I disconnected from in the past. So when you disconnect from people in the past, you know you don't want to rejoin those people. And that's my point with them. Anybody in your life who you think isn't for you at any age, I want to put this out there. I hope people under 13 aren't watching, but if you are, please speak to a trusted adult and let them know if this is happening to you. You do not have to stay in contact with people who are unsafe for you to be in contact with. That includes your family. That includes friends, classmates, coworkers, people you meet anywhere. No one can force you to have a relationship with them. That is what stalking is. I mean, I think I'll title this. That's what stalking is. When people think they can force you into a relationship, you don't have to stay in contact with ex-employers, ex-managers. Nobody can force you to be in contact with people you feel unsafe around. And that's my point about what this is. Let me just continue to wipe as my eyes are draining. You see how you can see the difference. I'm going to stay on this video as long as I can so you can start to see the difference from as my eyes are running, swelling is going down. That's not natural. It's not normal. So my point is I'm telling this to every human being. I mean, most of us already know it, but they thought in their sick stalking minds that I must be around people. So what they did is dug up people who I'm not around. There are so many people I'm around that they could have had been involved, but those aren't the people they want because those are people who I'm safe with. And that's my point. It's about being safe. And they didn't want me to feel safe. This is my whole point to them. That's why they don't want me to do these videos. It isn't because, oh, I'm going to come on here looking crazy. No, I'm going to come on here talking like someone with common sense. That's the other part of this. They keep trying to minimize everything in my life. Every relationship has to be minimized. Every school, whatever. My schools have been good schools. And that is how they failed in minimizing it. So they wanted to say, how come I have a Bachelor of Science? I never took science. How could I get a Bachelor of Science without taking science? I mean, in their minds, again, it goes back to what I'm telling you, that they think I'm psychic. They think I'm some sort of special person. People just hand me degrees or people just hand me things. They said, how could I have been good with money? Like, I worked at a bank, and even before that, I used to be good with money until this happened. So people don't just give out things. People just don't, at least not for me. That goes back to their idea. It speaks to what I'm telling you. If this happened to me all my life, it would have been so noticeable that even now it's noticeable. I'm on the bus and people have their cell phones like this. It's noticeable. So if this happened to me for 49 years, nobody would notice. So they're like, didn't you ever? The didn't you evers don't apply in a court of law. You can't just go to court and just have a witness sit there for hours and days. This has been going on for years. Couldn't you imagine years of just asking me things and accusing me of things? That is not legal. That's my point with these folks. And I want them to bring these tapes that they have to court. So that proves that they were illegally surveilling me, let alone what they've been saying out loud. I already have enough proof. If they committed a crime. And if they've been doing it for years, it's more of a crime. The more years you put to doing a crime makes it more of a crime. And that's my point. And you can see, look at that. You can see the difference. I'm going to see if I can make the screen lighter. That's what they were trying to do. They were trying to darken my screen because in their minds that makes me look darker. I don't get it. I just did this right now. They did this to one of my videos. But as you can see, you can tell the difference in a video when I'm doing it, because I'm telling you I'm trying to lighten it, and when they did it. And when they did, it didn't look anything like this. But you see that? So they're trying to change my race, you know, change my identity so that people won't recognize me. No, I want to be recognized. Okay, so that's me doing it, and you can tell. But look at that. Already, the swelling is going down. That's abnormal. Nobody should wake up looking completely different, and then within minutes, their eyes are running and draining. That's the swelling. So I'm going to show you the finger. Look at that. And you can compare that to, and you see that lump there? You see it right there. Look at that. So they said, well, we thought you would look like you gained weight. No, I look like somebody's being exposed to radiation because people want me to see things and hear things that I'm not supposed to see and hear naturally. So the radiation causes an abnormal swelling that causes it to sound like it's in my head, until I ice my head, protected my head, and put my arms around it. That's how I look. This is how people who are being deliberately made sick look. Look at that. Look at that. Okay? This is not the look of a healthy person. And there would be no reason why I wouldn't be healthy. Okay? So here, you see that? Let me brighten the screen. Okay? So you see how it's affecting me. You see my hair thinning on the sides. You see that? So no. So the other part of this that I wanted to get out and tell you folks about. So you can see my appearance has just changed in this short amount of time. The other part of this I wanted to tell you folks is that they're back to being obsessed with the possibility of me dating somebody. I've already said this in a previous video, and I'm going to keep telling the world this. That was the first setup that they did. See, they have a series of setups, these folks. And had they completed that setup and I went with that person, they said they wanted me to move to that person's country. And that person was going to keep me safe. That's my point. They found someone who they thought I would leave the United States of America, move to that person's country, and trust that person to keep me safe, as opposed to, I don't know, myself. That's the setup. It's always that type of setup. So if you're a victim, sometimes it takes so long to find what the setup is. It's always the same types of setups. It's always a romance scam, a money scam. This was a health scare scam. I'll call that this health scare scam. It's a housing scam. It's always about money. So as I'm telling you folks all of this stuff, you know, when they said, you know, they're going to shoot me, they're going to kill me, it's because I told. Had I not told, they would have done it anyway. Nobody would know why. They would say, well, this person isn't involved in any of the stuff. Why is she the one being shot? Well, now if I get shot, people will know why. The other part of that, so you see, look at that. From the time I woke up, I'll get a close up, to now, look at that. You see the difference. You see it here. You see it here. You see it in the hand. Look at that. It's still swollen. You see that, you know, tightness here. That's what that's the best word for it. It's not just a muscle. It's a muscle seizure, but it's also muscle tightness. And that's how it feels. It feels like my muscle is tight. And you see it right there. But it looks like it's getting less tight. So it's muscle tightness. So again, I'm showing you me, and you can see the swelling went down because the eyes are running, but the swelling is going down. So yeah, so that was how they wanted to make me look like they're doing this to protect me, that I have some sort of psychic ability, I have some magical ability. I'm the only person this is happening to. I'm the worst person. I'm horrible. So the next thing was they were going to have me repeat everything they say in my apartment, which sounds different from me, and switch it to make it seem like I'm saying it. So then they try to complete my sentences because they said the AI they're trying to form, they want to be able to complete my sentences so they could predict what I'm going to say. Yeah, it's already out there. All this information that I've been telling you guys now for a long time in all these videos, it's now in the news. It's being reported. So what they felt they were going to be able to do is, like, here's my sentence. What they felt they were going to be able to do. They would say, and then I would be saying, be able, and they would say to do, so that in their AI, they would be able to say, my sentence will be what they felt they would be able to do. They would be able to predict that I would say that. Isn't that horrible? So they said, we violated you in every way. Yes, that's what I'm saying. I've been violated. Where are my rights? At what point am I no longer a United States citizen? I mean, this is part of the argument that I've had forever. When this goes back to what I've been saying about how I was protesting the family separation. When you are on United States soil, you immediately have certain rights. We have rights as not just citizens, but anyone on the soil of U.S. soil. I would have lost my rights had I left and moved to a different country. But even that was so far-fetched that I would just meet somebody, move away, and it was based on me being hidden by that person. So in their mind, somebody who's worked with the public for so many years, you know how many people I've interacted with? That's my point with them. I'm going to try to do a quick little idea, and I did this in another video. I worked with the public at the New York Botanical Garden. Thousands of people. I worked with the public when I worked for the phone company. I started at 9X, but it was over the phone. It was a call center. Hundreds of people I interacted with. Not just people who were in the call center because it was a large call center, but as they left, new people. I worked with the public at Saks Fifth Avenue. Thousands of people. I worked with the public at a bank. A lot of people. I worked with the public at Bloomingdale's. A lot of people. I worked with the public at Lacoste. Not as many people. But put that over years. I've interacted with more people than I can count. And suddenly I'm this horrible person. They said I said, when mom is not happy, nobody's happy. No, I didn't say that. And that's my point to them. Okay, I'm going to pause this. So they said, I said, when mom is not happy, nobody's happy. I did not say that. So they then changed it to, someone said that referring to me. And I said that in the previous video. So in the previous video, I didn't say what the phrase was. So again, this is what I'm telling you folks. It doesn't make sense if you look at my career, if you look at the references, if you look at the thousands of people I interacted with. They're liars who don't know what they're talking about. So if what they say is true, when they go to court, they'll be able to present their evidence. And that's my point with them. So they said, well, I'm sitting in my bedroom, so I would say things out loud. If I said something out loud, then it's not what I'm thinking. It's what I'm saying. And that's my point to them. They're not understanding the difference between a thought and speech. Thought and speech don't always have to match in terms of someone who is a writer, someone who does this, what I'm doing right now. That's fraud. But also they said, well, wouldn't I have thought this was closed off? No, I'm in an apartment building. When you hear people talking this loud, and I'm in an apartment building, it's weird. I'm on the 14th floor, so it's not like I have like people right outside. They would have to yell for you to hear them clearly. So in my videos, when you hear them talking, it's this technology. The other point about that is this. That proves if they were invading my privacy and they don't like the fact that I was able to catch them, come on. Come on. That's my point. They don't like that I was able to catch them and what they thought was me wasn't me. It was me catching them. So they had all this drama, hitting me in the head, having people intercept everything, mess up all my technology to cause more drama. And it backfired. That's my point. When the setups backfire, that's when you see who they are. The fact that they had to do this to set me up proves my point. And that's why I must get them in court and must get what they recorded. So again, I stayed on camera so you guys can see. Look at that. That's a big difference. So the other part of the setup was they said, well, how come you weren't working? Here's what I'm telling you, folks. You've seen with your own eyes. That's my point with them. If they can't be convinced of reality, and other people can't convince them of reality, they'll never be convinced of reality. That's why it has to go before a judge. Why would anybody subject themselves to so many medical tests where they find things, where I lose my voice, where my face is deformed, where I'm limping around, where I'm hospitalized? Why? Why would everybody do all of these things? Again, it goes back to their belief that I'm some special person that's getting special treatment by everybody in the world, that I can never get sick. I'm not entitled to any sort of pay or compensation for them deliberately making me sick. So everybody in the world is crazy. That's it? Is that their point? And it just dawned on them now when I said I've interacted with so many thousands of people in my life that they said, uh-oh, no one's going to believe us that she's so horrible. Yeah. Why did it take, what time is it? I don't have a watch on, so I'll use my imaginary watch. How come it took this long for them to figure that out? Again, that's the point with this. It's always them. Every example is always them. It's always the same type of people. So they said the other part about this that they were trying to do is remind me of things that they would want me to say. That doesn't make any sense. Instead, they should hold on telling me what they're going to say and tell it to the judge. And I'm going to say that, tell it to the judge. So the idea that they would say that when mom is not happy, nobody's happy. I'm nobody's mama. I'm nobody's mama. That's my point. That quote is not, they misunderstood the quote in so many ways. First of all, when mama's not happy, nobody's happy means the mother, the wife, the woman of the home. That's my point. That's my point. They don't even get what that means. And to try to make it sound like it's about me. I'm no one's mama. That's my point. That's who they think I should be, taking care of them as a gang member, committing crimes. The first thing I'm going to tell you about this that they don't want me to tell you is that's how this started, trying to get me to commit crimes that would have landed me in so much trouble. And when I didn't go along with it, they deliberately made me sick. And I'll see them in court. That's going to be what I tell them. I'll see you in court because they involved all these people, because the next crime was going to be, we could do a class action lawsuit against River Bay. Not if it's River Bay involved in it. They involved thousands of people. They thought if thousands of people commit a crime, nobody can get arrested. Oh no, they arrest thousands of people. It's possible. The next part they wanted me to interact with people, strangers, bringing them into this, not in this way, but in person. Why would I do that? This is easier. I could potentially interact with millions of people and expose this without getting people involved in it. That's my point. They have two different ways of trying to involve people. Person to person, which means that person's life is in jeopardy. But secondly, who are these people? Who are they? As opposed to a video. That's my point. That's again trying to get me to join a gang. They would have set me up with somebody who they approve, who they want to be involved with me. And that's my point. Common sense. So look at that. I'm trying to lighten this screen. You see that? A big difference. A big difference. But still way too skinny. Reality. Reality.